my name is Vrijraj. I'm a GDE, and I'm working as a CTO at ActProp, and also I'm leading a developer relations team at Limitic AI, and I'm working on multiple technologies like PWA, Firebase, Google Cloud Platform, or Google Cloud. So if you have any questions, feel free to connect with me. And also, I'm leading a community name is Tech Ferment. So, like before we begin, like I would like to ask a few questions, like how many of you are working with web technologies? Like you can mention, or you can raise your hand. Yeah. Okay, so we can start the talks. So today I'm going to talk about the first thing like about the web dev ecosystem, and then we'll talk about the basic fundamental of Firebase, and then I'll show you how we can make the AI-enabled applications with the help of Firebase and the AI part, the generative AI. We say GenKit, and we'll show you how we can create a sample applications with the help of generative AI. So in India, we have around 932 million monthly active users are using internet, over 932 million smartphone devices. So here we have a huge opportunities, like opportunities in terms of build the solutions. So you can build a solution in terms of web, or maybe you can build the solution in terms of mobile. It's totally up to you. You just need to identify the areas like the problem statement, and then try to start working on creating applications based on those technologies and all. So talking about specifically, the web technologies, like there are a lot of things like in terms of talking about specifically for the web. Like here we have a website, browser, and the server. So website is just like as a collections of web page. Browser is just like as a application where we can access the web page, and server is basically we use for serving of web pages. So this is based on these fundamentals, like we can create any solutions with the help of a platform. So like considering you all are as a student. So like let's say you have an idea about, let's say, one startup, or maybe you want to build some solutions. So for that, whenever we have an idea, we want to work on some uh, the development part. So there are a lot of confusion in terms of how to start, what type of technology stack I can go with, what type of front end technologies I can go with, let's say React, Angular, or Vue. Or for the database, like we have a multiple database like MongoDB, PostgreSQL, MySQL. So there are n number of databases. And similarly to backend technologies, like there are n number of backend technologies are available, like Python, Node.js, Ruby Rails. So there are n number of languages are available. So this is a generic terms in terms of developer point of view to start working on that particular idea part. So once you decided your technical stack, and then you need to work on the code part. So code part in terms of, let's say you are creating a web applications, then you need to focus on the front end, start working on the front end part, and then start working on the back end part and the database security, migrations, and multiple things. So once you've created applications, so there might be possibilities like code patgya, or maybe you'll face challenges in terms of security or database or the backend related things. So for that, like it's a kind of general natures that we need to work on the bug fixing. So bug fixing is just like identify the exact code, and patch it, or maybe add your additional code in terms of use cases point of view. So then you can work on it. So this is a kind of journey for the developers to build the solutions. Like building a solution is really easy task, because we are living in a world of AI. So with the help of AI, we can build anything. And the main target is like how we can make manageable, scalable applications. So it's a kind of journey for the developers to build the application, and then they got the bug and fix the issues and all. So this is not a good thing for the developers, and we all are engineers. So that's why like Firebase came into the picture. So what is Firebase? Firebase is just like as a backend as a service. So you just need to focus on the Firebase, the front end part. So Firebase is just like as a unified platform. So let's say if you are working on a web technologies, or if you are working on a mobile platform, you just need to focus on the UI. Like you can create a UI with the help of HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript. Or if you are working with mobile platform, like you can use Jetpack Compose, or maybe You can use Flutter for creating a UI, and then REST backend is Firebase. So backend Firebase is a backend as a services. So they are providing n number of backend services that you can use in your front end applications. So one of the best thing about Firebase is just like Firebase has a mission to help the developers succeed. Means they are providing a backend as a services, and you just need to focus on the front end part, and you can create a XYZ UI, and then you can integrate with Firebase services, and you can easily build the applications in a very fast way. So one of the best thing about Firebase is just like if you are working on a mobile platform, or if you are working on a web platform, or if you are working on a game development platform like Unity, can use Firebase. So talking about the Firebase, so Firebase has a multiple services. So these services is categorized into the two main part. The first one is build better application, another one is for running and maintaining, or in terms of monitoring the applications. So talking about the build services, so here we have n number of services that you can use inside Firebase. So let's say you are creating a mobile applications. So for creating a mobile applications, then we need to work on testing. So here we have a test services where you can test, you can check the application in a real-time basis. You can host your website with the help of Firebase. You can authenticate your user with the help of Firebase. So authentication in terms of like let's say you have a website and you wanted to implement some authentications. So if I talk about the traditional way, then we need to go for the database. We need to write a backend business logic for creating account, logout logic, forget password logic. And then talking about the traditional approach, it which will take a lot of amount of time in terms of code implementation, securities and all. But if you are using Firebase authentication services, it's just like the code part. We just need to call the APIs, the functions, and you can easily authenticate your user with the help of Firebase. Same with the cloud functions. So cloud function is just like the backend as a service. So where you can write your custom backend business logic. Let's say there is a one user who is uploading a profile picture of the images. So we can reduce the size of the images before uploading it into the image in our storage. So we can reduce the file, we can translate the text with the help of cloud functions, and the storage services is just like where we can uh, storage service is just like where we can upload the blob data, like sometime in your applications you want, like user can upload their profile picture as an image file, or maybe the PDF file, or maybe the audio file, the text file. So you can upload these kind of blob data in your cloud storage. And the real-time database and cloud firestore, there are two database inside the Firebase. So one is the real-time database for creating a very light scale applications that you can do with the help of real-time database. So cloud firestore is just like as a MongoDB, which is a NoSQL database where we don't have a schema. So we can store the data in terms of document collections and the data format. And data connect is just like as a service where we can connect our SQL data, like the PostgreSQL data, and pull the data in our Firebase console, and then we can push the data into the UI. And then we have ML services, like where we can use predefined machine learning models, or you can build your custom machine learning model and then consume those models with the help of Firebase. So here are n number of services in terms of build categories. So let's say you are creating applications and you want to perform some authentication, then you can go with the authentication services. If you want to upload some images or text file or PDF file, then you can go with the cloud storage services. If you want to use some database, then we have a two type of database, like real time and cloud fast. Or if you want to perform some host your website, then we have a hosting service. If you want to write some custom business backend logic, then go with the cloud functions. So with the help of build category, you can easily build the application in a very fast way. And then once you have built the applications, the next part is how we can track, how we can monitor, how we can connect with the audience, the user part. So here we have a services is called as A/B testing, app distribution, cloud messaging, analytics. So there are n number of services are available inside the the run categories. So A/B testing is just like, let's say if you are a mobile developer and you are working on a mobile application part. So let's say we want to test our mobile application in a n number of devices like the Google devices, iPhone, Pixel, or maybe Samsung, Oppo. There are n number of devices are available in terms of production point of view, the company. So if I go with the traditional approach, we need to purchase the hardware and then test the application one by one, like the supported devices. So rather than following the traditional approach, what we can do, we can go with the test labs, like where we can on a Firebase A/B testing, where you can test your applications in your test labs. So A/B testing is just like, you can test your application in a two sectors or maybe three sectors. So you can divide your application in a multiple region or the user group, and you can push the features to the users. App distribution is a similar things, like you can release alpha beta features in your applications to the user, so you can use app distributions. Cloud messaging is just like sending a push notifications, like you use Swiggy or Zomato. So in here we'll get the notifications about the application's food menu or anything. So similarly, if you want to trigger a push notifications, then you can use cloud messaging. And then we have the crash analytics, where you can track the crash reports bugs in a real time basis, and then you can identify the bugs and fix the bugs. Performance monitoring, in terms of like you can get the performance report of your website or the web applications in terms of let's say there is a login screen or maybe there is a dashboard, so where user is performing, let's say xyz actions. Then you can track the in monitor the informations, like how much time it will take to navigate one activity to another activity, or maybe one page to the another page. So you can track the monitor performance, and then you can improve the performance based on the actions you have, the data you have. Remote config is just like you can make dynamic applications. So dynamic application, in terms of, let's say I have an application and I want to promote this application only in India. So only Indian users can only access this particular applications. So I can perform this kind of configurations things with the help of remote config. So where we can manage one JSON file and we can pass country specifically to the India. So if the user is from India, then only Indian user can access this particular application. So we can perform this kind of things with the help of remote config. And test labs, it's already shared. And then in-app messaging is just like sending a personalized message to the customer users. So you can do that these things with the help of Firebase. So to be honest, like this Firebase is just like as a backend as a services. You just need to focus on the documentations, the functional calling. So they are providing a set of functions. So let's say I want to authenticate my user with authentications, let's say Google authentications. I just need to call the function's name is sign in with Google. Or if I want to authenticate my user with, let's say, email and password, then we need to call the function name is sign in with email and password. And here we can pass email and password. So it's a simple things that you can easily explore the documentation, and then you can make the applications with the help of Firebase. So to be honest, like if I talk about the college perspective, you can build the application with the help of Firebase in a very easy way. So most of the services are free of cost, and you can easily build a project, or maybe you can participate in the hackathon, or you can build your capstone projects, and yeah, so you can work on it. So now I'll talk about the Firebase with ML, the machine learning part, because we are living in a world of AI. So here we have a multiple solutions like ChatGPT, Gemini. There are n number of AI solutions are available. So now I'll show you how we can make smarter applications with the help of Firebase. So talking about the machine learning part, so I'll start with Gemini. So Gemini is just like the large language models, the machine learning. It's a part of the generative AI, where we can generate anything in terms of we can generate text file, we can generate code, we can generate images, we can generate audio. So we can generate anything with the help of generative AI. So which is a part of the Gemini. Gemini is just like as a large language model, which have a multimodality in terms of this machine learning model can do anything, like they can generate audio, video, and then they can analyze the data based on the input. So talking about specifically for the Gemini, so there are two ways to use Gemini models. So one is for the Google Cloud and one is for Google AI Studio. So if you are working with the enterprises or the companies, then you can go with the Google Cloud platform. And inside Google Cloud platform there are n number of services are available in the Vertex AI section, and then you can install those model, and then you can use the Gemini models. Or if you are an individual users, then you can go with the Google AI Studio. And then it's a IDE where you can similar to the chat GPT, where you can do some prompt engineering, and then you can get the code, and you can input those code into the UI part, and you can easily build the applications with the help of Gemini. So talking about specifically for the Google ecosystem, so there are n number of ecosystem in terms of machine learning models. So here we have a Gemini, Gemini 2, Gemini 1.5, Ultra. So there are n number of varieties are available in terms of Gemini models based on the use cases. So let's say if you are working on a mobile devices, then you can go with the Gemini Nano. Or if you are working with the mobile application, not a mobile application, let's say if you are working on a desktop devices, then you can go with the Gemini Ultra. In terms of where you have a lots of amount of complexity, and you want to take a decision based on huge amount of data, then you can go with the Gemini Ultra. And even there are a number of models based on the uh, the problem statement. Let's say if you want to generate some images, then you can use gen imagine. If you want to generate the code, then you can go with the codely. So there are n number of models are available. And even if you can go to the Vertex AI, and there is a section called model garden, where you can identify the machine learning models. So there are n number of models, machine learning models are available. You just need to search the models, and then you can install those models in your the Google Cloud Console, and then you will get the APIs, and you just need to integrate those API in your front end applications, and that's it. And I'll also talk about the Google AI Studio. So it's just like as a it's a browser based tool where you can test your Gemini models, and you can select the models, and you can test the prompt. So I'll show you the screen. So this is a Google AI Studio. It's just like similar to the Chat GPT, but Chat GPT is for the end user. So this Google AI Studio is only for the developers, like who are working with the generative AI, or who want to create some applications with the help of AI. Then you can use this tool. So let's say I want to work on let's say the JavaScript part. So you can you can ask anything with the AI. Let's say write a JavaScript functions for the calculator. So this is the output, and then you can click on get code. So you can also compare with the multiple machine learning models. Let's say if you want to generate some response for Gemini 1.5, or maybe if you want to generate a response from Gemini 2, so you can get the response from this one. And then when you click on the get code, you just need to copy the code from the JavaScript. So let's say if you are working with the JavaScript, you just need to copy paste the code and in your browser, and you can create a good UI, and you can easily create applications with the help of AI Studio. So now I'll talk about the Firebase part, like how we can utilize the Firebase and make it more AI-enabled applications. So here we have three things. Like one is the cloud functions. Like cloud function is just like writing a custom backend business logic, like similar to the Node.js or maybe Python. So you can write your custom backend business logic, and you can integrate AI Studio, means the Gemini API, with the help of cloud functions, and you can build the applications. Another one part is the Firebase extension is just like predefined libraries, the tools, the services they are providing. Let's say if you want to create a chatbot with the help of AI, then you can go with the Firebase extension, and then you can install the extension in your Firebase project, and then you can call the AI APIs and all. The next one part is the AI studio. It's already are available. You can integrate, you can get the API, you can get the code, and you can integrate those things in your front end applications. So I'll show you the simple example. Let's say like this is a Google AI studio. Here we can get the code, so I'll explain this code one by one. So first one is we need to import the library. So we have imported the library for the generative AI, and then we have to define the API key. So you can get the API key from the AI studio, and then you need to define the machine learning model. So let's say I'm using Gemini 1.0 Pro Vision, and then you can define the configuration in terms of temperature, token, outcome, and all. And also you can define the safety setting in terms of you can restrict your models, like I generate content only this category, not this category. So you can just apply some safety setting, and then you can define the prompt, and then you can call the function name is generate content, and then inside you can pass the prompt engineering and safety setting and the configuration part, and then you can get the outcome, and then you can print those outcome into the UI part. So it's a normal JavaScript logic, and you can get this code from the AI studio. So, specifically, if I talk about the Firebase extension, so Firebase extension is just like, you know, it's a predefined Firebase cloud functions. Here we can, you can resize the images, you can translate the text, you can, trigger the mail based on, your problem statement. So if you go to the Firebase extensions, so you can, find n number of AI enabled extensions are available. Let's say if you want to translate some data in your database. So let's say I have an application, and I have published this application in Indonesian region, and maybe in Middle East region, or maybe Russian region. So most of the users are using their native languages. Let's say in China they use Mandarin, or maybe in Indonesia they use Bahasa language, or maybe in India most some of the user is using Hindi language and put their data into the Hindi language in our database. So sometime we need to translate the data from our database, or maybe we can pull the data in native language and we can translate, and we can show the data in our English language. So there is an extension is translate text into the file store, or you can create a chatbot with the help of Gemini, or if you want to summarize the text, then you can use um, these extensions. So there are a number of extensions. You just need to go to the link firebase extension.dev, and then you can find the extensions, and you can install the extension in your Firebase, and then you can easily access these things. So like talking about like how we can start with the help with Firebase. So I'll recommend you to go with the link gradus.dev. So here we have created our code labs. So code lab in terms of like the step by step approach, how we can use the AI, the Firebase, how we can deploy Firebase. So I'll show you one of the code lab that I have created. Okay, this code lab is for the Firebase Cloud Firestore. So Cloud Firestore is just like as a database where you can you can add your data, you can apply CRUD operations like the SQL database. So here it's a NoSQL database. So what is Firebase? It's just a basic concept. Cloud Firestore is a NoSQL database. Here what we can store, so we can store the data in terms of collections, document, and the data. We don't have a table and the column part. So we just need to apply CRUD operations like create operation, delete, read, and so you can work with the Cloud Firestore. You can go follow this code lab, and you can easily add the data in your Cloud Firestore. You can read the data, you can update the data in your database. You can create apply some security rules, and you can easily create applications with the help of real-time database and all. Okay, so now I'll talk about a few more things like we are living in a world of AI. So like if you go to the any XYZ company, so they are using AI in a many ways. Like they have their byproducts, or they have their own products, and they are integrating AI. Right. So talking about creating an AI enabled application is it's a challenging task. If I talk about for the enterprises, so let's say you have an idea. Once again, let's say if you are working with the let's say if you are working with a MNC company, and they have a multiple products, or they have a multiple byproducts, and they have an idea about implementing AI in their existing products. So building a AI enabled application is really tough task. And talking about creating an AI enabled application is in existing product, or integrating AI in their let's say I want to integrate AI in Microsoft Excel, or maybe I want to integrate AI in Gmail. So it's a really tough task, because application is already done, the architecture is there, but implementing AI, the architecture, uh, the security, there's a lot of challenges. So talking about creating a AI enabled applications for the enterprises, or very large scale company. So we need to focus on the architecture in terms of security, code implementations, the best practices. So this can be a good architecture if I talk about making AI enabled applications for a very large scale customer base app product, or applications. So where we need to work on the security, the prompt engineering part, like what type of users are saying, asking a questions to the AI, and AI just generating a messages. And creating this kind of technical stack is multiple challenging tasks. And talking about the AI, so as of now we have a multiple large language models are available. Like if you go to the open AI, so they have created GPT. In terms of JEP GDP we are using. If you go to the Google, so here we have a Gemini models. So if you go to the Facebook, we have Llama models. If you go to the like the marketplace, so we have an n number of models like Cloud, or maybe there's one AI X AI we was designed by the X team, the Twitter. So there are n number of machine learning models are available for creating a AI. So whenever you are implementing a AI, then the first challenging task is which generative AI model we need to use. Like either we can work on the Gemini, or we can use GPT model, or we can use Llama, or maybe we can use XYZ models. So building this kind of application is really tough task. And sometime in your application you need to consume, let's say, some of the tasks you need Gemini models, in some task you need Llama models, and in some task you need, let's say, GPT models. So making this kind of applications where we have to consume, let's say, 3 4 models, it's a challenging task. So, and also there are a lot of challenges in terms of making AI enabled applications, in terms of monitoring, in terms of like what type of content is generating my AI, how is it possible to scale, or maybe how we can debug the AI enabled applications, or how we can go with the production in a very less time. So this is a kind of challenging task for the developers we have. So that's why, like, there is another framework, or we can say the open source library that you can use is Firebase GenKit. So Firebase GenKit is just like is an open source framework where you can create AI enabled application in a very fast way. You don't need to working on multiple machine learning models, but you just need to use GenKit, and you can select the models, and you can call the APIs in terms of the standard functions, and then you can generate the content, or maybe you can generate the images. You can do anything with the help of GenKit. So it's open source. You just need to install in your backend or in your front end applications, and you just need to call the functions, and then you can easily build the AI enabled applications. So one of the best thing about GenKit, so it's a modern interface. Like if you are using Gemini, so we have a different approach for executing Gemini models. If we are using Llama, so they have a different executing approach in terms of functions, parameters. And if you are using GPT models, so they have a different libraries. So what you can do, it's a model interface. Like you can use GenKit, where you just need to change the model's name. Let's say I want to use Gemini, so I can change the Gemini models. So if I want to use Llama, so you just put your Llama models here. If you want to use let's say GPT models, so you just need to write OpenAI GPT, and you can easily build the applications with the help of AI. So talking about the JanKit, so JanKit is just like as open source. So you just need to install the CLI. You can install the CLI npm id JanKit CLI in your system, and then you can also install the models like the Google AI models that you can install. Or if you want to use Llama, then you can also install Llama model in your app in your local devices, and then you can start the JanKit. So JanKit is just like the simple UI. So it's a simple UI where you can implement the models. Like if you can see in the sidebar, so there are four models. You can create a flows in terms of the prompt, and then you can track the models like how much time is taking. Let's say Gemini models, or how much time it taking by the GPT models. So you can track these things with the help of Gemini, and you can customize the prompt like where you can get the questions from the users as an input. This is an input schema, and then you can pass it in functions, and then you can pull uh, generate the data based on the custom prompt. So you can get the more informations like if you want to know about GenKit. So you can go to the link firebase.google.com, or you can search GenKit, and you'll get the idea about the GenKit implementation and all. So I have also created a code labs like how we can you work on the GenKit. So you can scan the this QR code, or let me share the link. Okay, so this is a GenKit, and this one is for the RAG implementation. So RAG is another term is called as retrieval augmented generation. This is another technology is called as let's say if you are working with ChatGPT. So let's say if you ask any questions about the latest technology, ChatGPT, will give you. I don't have latest data. I have trained with let's say 2022 data, so I can give you the exact answer for that particular latest technologies. For that we need to learn the pass the data to the AI, the large language models. So here we need to use RAG. So let's say you have your own data, and you want ChatGPT will generate the data from your only data set and give the answer based on your own data set. So for that you can implement a RAG, and you can create custom GPT models, or you can make custom LLM with the help of RAG. So let me share the URL. And talking about the resources, you can check out the resources like you can go to the link Firebase docs, and you can get you can start working with the Firebase. You can follow the documentations and create a small scale projects in your college. And also there's a code lab platform where you can go to the link, and you can find the code labs in terms of PWA, Firebase implementation and all. And also I have written a multiple articles about Firebase over the Medium platform, and you can search those articles, and you can easily work with any of the services. Let's say if you want to use authentication, so I have articles about authentication services, and you can follow the articles, and you can create a applications with the help of Firebase. And yeah, I have a YouTube channel name is Tech Ferment. You can also check out the link Tech Ferment. And this is the code lab platform where you can check out the code labs about the Firebase and AI. So I hope like you enjoy something, or you learn something new about the Firebase. And feel free to connect with me over Instagram, Twitter, or maybe uh, like I'm sharing my link vrijraj.xyz. So feel free to connect with me if you have any questions, or maybe if you are facing any challenges in terms of web platform, or maybe implementing some AI in your applications. I'll be happy to help you. And yeah, uh, that's all. If you have any questions, I'm open for the questions.
If you guys have any questions, you can. I have opened the Q&A section. You can type in your questions there, or you can comment them. Abhishek, go ahead. You can type a question in the Q&A section. Meanwhile, sir, I would like to ask that suppose if somebody is fine tuning an LLM and sometimes deploying it becomes a huge task, does Firebase provide any way? Does it have any limitations on the size of the model that we can deploy?
Yes, we do have a limitation, but again, like I'll recommend you to, go with the use case and the data set you have. And then if you have a large amount of data set, then I would recommend you go with the Google Cloud Platform. Here we have a service is called as Vertex AI, and then you can fine train your models. But if you have, if you're creating a very small scales, and if you want to train your data, then you can go with the Firebase or you can use predefined machine learning models.
Okay, okay. And there is a question for you in the chat.
Hmm. How we can use Firebase to make it our project is built with. Okay, you just need to focus on the basic fundamental first. So if you have a basic fundamentals in terms of if I talk about the web, so you have an understanding about like how web is working and how we can make the web applications or the website with the help of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then you can start working on creating a small scale projects. Like in terms of you can work with the portfolio where you can use HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript. And then you can also create some to-do applications. You can create some, dynamic applications where you can use frameworks, you can use backend as a service. Here we can use Firebase. So it's totally up to you. Like, let's say if you are creating, portfolio of your portfolio and you want to trigger some notifications, the push notifications, then you can use Firebase. Or in your portfolio you want dynamic data, then you can upload your data into the Firestore in a Firebase, and you can pull the data from Firestore and show in your database or the portfolio. Like, I'll give you the example. This is my website. So like this data is coming from the database. I'm using Firebase for this one, like the talks, blogs, projects, and this is a dynamic data. Any other questions?
Sir, Akshat has a question in the Q&A section.
Uh, connect with you for better use. Sure, we can connect. Is it questions or something? How the party?
Sir, Akshat is asking that he has created a simple chatbot and he would love to connect it with machine learning for better use. So, how can he do that?
Uh, Feel free to connect with me over social media platform. I'm not sure like what type of questions you're asking.
Sir, I had a question about since we all are students, so is there any off we get for like the pricing or anything like that, or would the free tier be sufficient enough for us to build our projects?
Free tier is sufficient.
Oh, okay, sir.
Yeah, because most of the services of Firebase it's free of cost, like the authentication, database, push notification, college level project that is sufficient. Creating authentications, sending push notifications, or maybe using database or using upload database, like the storage services, these are free of cost. And same with the hosting, like Firebase hosting is a free of cost, and even you will get the free SSL certificates.
Okay, so thank you.
Okay, so that's all. Like, thank you so much. Thank you, team, for having me. There's one question, so yeah, sure. Let me share my LinkedIn. Just a minute. This is my LinkedIn URL, and feel free to connect with me. And thank you so much for having me. Yeah, so yeah, that's all.
So I'll just end the session here. So on behalf of GDG on Campus, I would like to thank speaker Mr. Vrijraj Singh for taking the time to share his detailed insights about Firebase, its applications, and the effective strategies for integrating it into modern development workflows with us. Now, thank you again so much for your time, sir. Thank you for all the knowledge that you shared with us. And thank you to all of the audience members as well for being such wonderful attendees during this event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking out the time to teach us something new.
Yeah, thanks a lot, team.
If you guys have any doubts or something, you can reach out to the speaker on LinkedIn as he has shared his link in the chat. And if you are done, you can leave the session. Thank you so much for joining today.